just South Africa, but also Botswana. He's an education specialist, and he is a guy who's using technology to advance the conversation that I think a lot of people are still sort of battling with, particularly in our borders. We hear all this conversation around education and how do we improve education in South Africa. And you decided to be very proactive about it. Good afternoon to you. How are you?
Afternoon. Thanks for having me, Bridget.
It's only but a pleasure. So this started back in 2015 from the boot of your car.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, funny journey. I schooled here in South Africa. I'm from Botswana, by the way. So I had to pay for my own fees at university. So my parents were helping out. So I got a tutoring job at one of the biggest agencies here in SA. And once I graduated, I started my own thing from the boot of my car. That was my office.
What a wow!
Yeah.
Very
yeah.
and I mean, did you start because you saw a gap for people to help students, or was it out of necessity of just making extra money in the meantime?
To be honest with you, I was unemployed. I couldn't get a job, and like the situation, in South Africa and many of our southern African countries, the unemployment rate is quite high. So I did it out of necessity, but it's something that I always enjoyed doing, helping out students, seeing that glow in their eyes when they understand a concept that they didn't understand until you came and explained it to them. So I think I just matched my passion and necessity, and 300 employees later, here we are.
And I mean, and that is the success to your story, because I mean, Thobo, you are young. If anybody goes on his digital platforms and sees him, you yourself look, you just like you graduated yesterday.
And thanks for the compliment. I'll take it as a compliment.
It's a pleasure. Look at me making a grown man blush. And to say in such a short span of time, you've employed 300 people. I mean, that has a ripple effect in households and communities.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I just thank God that we're able to provide sustainable jobs. Some of our employees have, had a 6 to 7 year anniversary with the company.
Wow.
And it means a lot to be able to put food on my table and also help other young people like myself, and also people older than me. We really hire across the spectrum, so I'm really humbled by that.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to get, and I want to get to the work that lie in tutoring and the platforms that you guys use, but I also like the human element of it, right? Let's talk a little bit about how you go about recruiting or finding these tutors and student assistants.
Yeah, so we make sure we partner with local HR agencies. So in Botswana, there are a couple of ones that we partner with, and here in South Africa. So we'll tell them that we need 10 maths tutors, we need 5 physics tutors, we need 3 history tutors. Then they will go over the application process, give us the best candidates, and then once we've shortlisted them, we do background checks, because we are sending the tutors to your house. So we have to make sure that they don't have any criminal records, they're not in any lists of pedophilia, lists, sexual whatever offenses. And then once we are good with the tutors, we onboard them onto our system. Then you as a client, you get to be exposed to the tutors. So we have an app which is like Uber for tutors on the Google Play Store. So if you'd like a tutor for maths and science, it will pick your location. You'll tell it you want maths and science, then it will suggest you the top rated tutors in your location. Then you click on the tutor's profile, you can see their qualifications, what other clients are saying about that tutor. And once you make a payment on the platform, we send the tutor to your house.
Very convenient. I like that. So it's that easy.
It's that easy.
Literally, download the app, put in your details. It does, I mean, as you describe it, it's like Uber.
It's Uber, yeah. It's basically like that. And we try to make it more even like user-friendly for the kids, because they're on TikTok. We make sure that we share our links on some TikTok videos.
So you can meet your tutor, see them, see the persona.
And then and then again, if you're not happy with the tutor, you can always request for a change in tutors, which is absolutely fine, because as students we try to personalize learning, because once you get a teacher at school, you are stuck with that teacher. You can't say, but I don't hear I don't hear her accent, but with us you can always pick and choose tutors as you like.
And you know what, Thobo, that is a good point, because so many people will tell you that sometimes they did bad in particular lessons, not because they didn't have the know-how, the effort,
Yeah.
the energy, but because they just didn't resonate with the teacher,
Yeah.
or maybe the teacher's teaching style
Style.
wasn't quite the thing for that particular student.
Yeah, and it's you know, the thing is with the education system, it's more of a one size fits all.
Yeah.
There are two types of students. There are students who are visually stimulated,
Mm.
so those are the guys with the mind maps, the cookies, you know, the
Yeah.
you know, the highlighters, you know, sticky notes and all. And there are some students who are audio based learners, so they are more of discussion.
Mm.
So before the exam, you'll see they'll be like in discussions to say, okay, remind me that, you know, they so if we put both of those students and we try to teach them the same way, then we also have extreme cases of special needs students who need different teaching methods,
Yeah.
you know. So we try to really personalize the learning experience.
I like that. And obviously, in terms of special needs, etc., there are kids perhaps who are sort of, living with autism who need particular care.
Yeah.
So you also take that into consideration when you put together a pool of tutors.
Yeah. Even in our hiring process, we have special education tutors, and we don't generalize, because a tutor who did special education autism and special education epilepsy and special education, there's another condition called LNI. I just learned about it recently on some articles. So we have to make sure we get the right tutor who has done the right specific special needs course and experienced in that. Yeah.
Listen, you are blowing my mind right now. When we have this conversation about young innovators, people out here on the continent really just developing solutions to the problems that we have. We are talking about people like yourself. And I mean, let's talk about, we've touched a little bit. The platform seems pretty simple enough for me to understand. How are people taking to the innovation of it, though? Because you've been around for a few years now. So obviously there's great success in what you do and the interface that people have with your platform.
Yeah, so the biggest indicator is the pass rate, you know. Once your child goes through the program and you can see that 10% increment in their academics, you know, parents really, and it spreads through word of mouth, you know. Somebody would be like, you know, I really didn't think my child would get these kind of grades, you know. And we try to innovate even more. We're working on some awesome AI tools, which they're sort of data driven. They will see that the student is struggling in certain topics, and there's maybe likelihood that they will struggle in other topics. So if, let's say, a student is doing simultaneous equations and factorization and maths, and they're doing below par, there's high chances that they're not going to do well in quadratic equations, which is 2 topics after that, factorization and, you know, removing the brackets, etc. So it will now tell the tutor that you need to spend more time with the student in this area, because after 2 topics it's going to get even more harder. So we're working on those kind of AI tools. And also the examiner reports. We really study examiner reports, which the principal examiner would write a statement to say students didn't do well for this question because these are the loopholes, or students did well for this question because this is what they did correctly. So we study those kind of examiner reports, and then we put that into our teaching program.
Listen, as you were talking, I'm like, geez, this sounds a little bit more hybrid than algebra or trig or any of the things that I did. So we must be talking about varsity students now at this point, because you're not just focused on secondary education, right? You also go into tertiary education.
Yeah, that is correct. We also do tertiary education, undergrad, even postgrad. If clients would like to, if they're doing their master's project, they want to collect data, we help with that. We're not going to do your dissertation for you, so I would like to put that we don't do that. We don't write assignments for people. But if you're looking for data and you like, because I've seen even some of the professors at university, some of the statistical softwares would be much advanced, and they don't know how to put the data, to punch in the data into your SPSS or your statistical softwares like MATLAB. So we'd have like some research assistants, and we'd have some tutors to help them with capturing the data, and then they focus on their dissertation.
Oh, lovely stuff. Yeah, listen, we are talking higher grade here. But it all goes to the question of education and improving education. on the continent. And I don't know what the landscape is in Botswana. I've just always thought that our neighbors are doing far better in these things than us. But how is it in terms of comparison, the work that you do here and the work that you do in Botswana?
Yeah, so with the differences is in Botswana usually we do Cambridge syllabus, and in South Africa we have IEB. So IEB and CAPS. So in the private school they would have the IEB, and some here and there have Cambridge here in South Africa. But that side is mostly the Cambridge curriculum, which I think it leverages us better in Botswana and Zimbabwe to be able to study abroad, because that is one of the minimum requirements. Not to say that if you have your CAPS or your IEB you cannot, but it's a little bit slightly harder, because you'd now have to go to, if you want to study in Europe, you'd have to now get your qualifications to be translated into their metric system. Whereas if you already have your A-levels, it's just to submit your qualifications. So that's basically the differences. And well, the one thing I like about the South African education system, not to just be negative, is that it's a South African education system. So the whole value chain, in terms of the authors that write the books, the textbooks, they are all based here. But I feel like in Botswana we are exporting a lot of jobs because we import those textbooks, coming from abroad. We can't write textbooks of our own. Whereas here in South Africa, it's easy to do that because it's a South African curriculum. So I think that's one of the advantages of the South African education system as
I mean, that makes sense. Now, in terms of collaborations for the work that you do, and I would not know if the respective departments have sort of been in contact with people like yourself to say, well, you seem to have something that's working, that's filling a gap. How do we tap into that, and how do we help it help us?
Yeah, I can even just leave my contacts 0737 759305. That's my WhatsApp. But we do a lot of community engagement projects in Botswana. 2 years back, we were involved with the FNB Foundation, where they deployed us to a community and said, listen, we want you guys to tutor all these kids, and we want you to give us a report to say from where, before tutoring and after tutoring, how the program went. We've done SOS, we've done Childline. So there's a lot of community engagement that we do for those that cannot afford our services, because it's more of a high-end service, you can imagine. But yeah, my number again, 0737 759305. For anyone who wants to contact me, I'm available to come to your office.
Right, listen, I like it. Corporates who are always talking about, how do I get involved? How do I sponsor a school? This could be one of it. The things that you do. You identify a school in an area. We had this conversation. People weren't liking my suggestion, but we identify a school in an area that seems to be struggling. You contact Thobo here and his team, and maybe you sponsor tuition for a year and see how that works out for you. And that would be your CSI project as a corporate. It sounds incredible. I love, and the fact that it's simple enough for anybody to comprehend. I think that is the bonus part. Thobo Khathola, thank you so much for coming through. He is the founder and managing director of Lion Tutoring. Is it liontutoring.com everywhere?
Oh yes, all socials at Lion Tutoring, and then our website www.liontutoringinternational.com. And then if you want to download the app, it's on the Google Play Store, so you just say at Lion Tutoring.
Lovely. Google Play Store is where you go, Mom and Dad. 1:30, it's time for us to catch up with the headlines. And I think Danae Mudahun is standing by.